You already have the front wheels off the ground when your phone vibrates. The message is only 4 words. Cancellation request verify status. The sedan is hanging from your truck, its alarm blinking silently into the Florida night. The owner runs out holding a payment receipt above her head. She says the lender took her money yesterday. Your recovery app still shows the assignment in green. Active, verified, recover immediately. 2 screens, 2 answers, 1 car between them. Your dispatcher calls before you can decide. He does not ask what the woman is saying. He asks what the app says. You tell him it is still active. He pauses, then gives you the sentence that will follow you for years. Then it's active. 3 years earlier, you were not taking cars. You were hiding yours. You parked 2 blocks from your apartment after missing a payment, convinced that distance could make debt forget your address. It could not. Debt is very good at remembering. When the warehouse cut your shift, the math stopped working. Rent came first, food came second. The car payment became a promise you moved from Friday to Monday, then from Monday to next month. Every delay felt temporary until your car disappeared. The recovery lot returned your belongings in a clear plastic bag. Sunglasses, phone charger, work gloves, 3 unpaid parking tickets. The employee behind the window never looked at you. To him, your life was not a tragedy. It was an inventory with 4 lines. 6 months later, an advertisement appeared between delivery jobs. Recovery agent, intern night work, no experience required. The irony was obvious. So was the hourly rate. You applied because resentment does not pay rent, and the car had taught you what mobility was worth. Florida made you complete 40 hours of professional training before you could work as a licensed intern. You learned about secured property, personal belongings, identification numbers, and the phrase that governed everything: no breach of the peace. You could recover a vehicle. You could not create a confrontation to do it. Your sponsor, Ray, translated the course into simpler language. If someone clearly resists, you leave. If a gate is closed, you do not force it. If the police arrive, you stay calm. And before touching anything, you make sure the order is still alive. Your first assignment was a 10-year-old pickup outside a duplex. You checked the plate twice and the identification number 3 times. Then a porch light came on. A man stepped outside, planted himself beside the truck, and told you it was not going anywhere. You backed away exactly as you had been trained. No argument, no threat, no truck. Ray called it a clean failure. The office called it an incomplete recovery. The distinction mattered to your conscience, but it did nothing for your performance sheet. On the next assignment, you waited across the street for 20 minutes, looking for reasons not to move. Another recovery truck arrived first. Its driver lifted the car and disappeared before you had finished deciding whether the curtains were open. Caution had become somebody else's invoice. Your third car sat outside an all-night laundromat. The order was active. The numbers matched. Nobody objected. You finished without drama, and the silence felt like skill. Back at the lot, Ray slapped the side of your truck and said, "Now you're learning." The work became easier when you stopped imagining the owner. On your screen, a person became an account number. Their car became collateral. Their address became the last place the system remembered them. The less human the information looked, the faster your hands became. At your agency, assignments arrived through layers you rarely saw: lender, servicer, forwarding platform, office dispatcher, field agent. Each layer passed down authority and kept a record. By the time the order reached you, everyone above you seemed certain, and nobody was standing in the driveway. Most nights were not dramatic. They were dead addresses, changed plates, empty parking spaces, and hours of fuel burned for nothing. You missed dinners, slept after sunrise, and learned that a successful week could be erased by one broken hydraulic line. 1 month, the truck needed repairs the same week your landlord raised the rent. You accepted every assignment the office sent, not because the targets deserved it, not because the lender was right, because an idle truck had started to look exactly like your old unpaid car. After each recovery, the vehicle told a story the order did not. A fast food uniform, a child's booster seat, hospital parking receipts, sometimes nothing but trash. Florida required personal effects to be inventoried, dated, and recorded. Your form had a box for every object, but none for what it meant. One morning you found an inhaler beneath a passenger seat. The office logged it with the other property. You asked whether someone should call immediately. Your supervisor pointed to the notification procedure and said the process already knew what to do. You began to hate that sentence. After a year of verified work, you qualified to move beyond the intern license. The new card carried your photograph, your Class E designation, and the feeling that you had survived something. Ray bought you coffee. The office gave you more difficult assignments. More difficult did not mean more important. It meant older addresses, angrier owners, and files other agents had already rejected. Your experience had not moved you away from risk. It had made the agency more comfortable sending you toward it. At a rural property, an owner emerged with one hand behind his back. You could not know what he held. Florida did not allow you to carry a firearm during a repossession on private property. You lowered the vehicle, returned to your cab, and drove away while he filmed your license number. You followed the rule and still lost. The owner complained that you damaged his driveway. The agency questioned why you had connected to the vehicle at all. Ray said leaving was correct, then quietly removed you from the best assignments until the complaint disappeared. You did not become fearless. You became selective. You learned which questions slowed you down and which ones protected the file. You photographed numbers, checked timestamps, and saved screenshots. Conscience had failed to protect you. Documentation sometimes could. Your recovery count improved. Complaints fell. New interns rode with you, repeating the same nervous checks you once made. You told them to verify the order, avoid confrontation, and trust the procedure. You sounded like Ray. That bothered you less than it should have. When Ray left, the agency offered you several dispatcher shifts each week. The desk felt safer than the truck. From there, the city became a map of active orders. Agents called with frightened voices, angry owners, mismatched plates, and questions the software answered with colored status labels. Green meant proceed. Red meant stop. Yellow meant call someone who would usually tell you to wait. The colors were not the law, but the office treated them like traffic lights. Your job was to keep assignments moving before uncertainty spread through the queue. Then came the sedan, a routine account, 2 payments behind, active order sent to your evening driver. The owner paid the amount quoted by the servicer the previous afternoon. A representative marked the account for cancellation. The message began moving through the chain, but the recovery order moved faster. You are the field agent that night because someone called in sick. The sedan is already lifted when the owner shows you her receipt. The timestamp is real. The amount looks correct. Your phone says verify. The recovery app still says active. You call the office. Your dispatcher checks the same screen you can see and tells you the order has not been canceled. You ask him to contact the forwarding company. He says they are not answering. The owner asks whether she can drive to work in the morning. You remember your car disappearing. You remember the plastic inventory bag. You also remember the complaint, the repair bill, and every time hesitation was entered beside your name. The system has trained both choices into you. Only one of them protects tonight's assignment. You tell the owner to contact her servicer. She says she already did. You tell her the order remains active. She says the order is wrong. Both statements can be true, but the truck only moves in one direction. You raise the sedan and drive away. At 8:12 the next morning, the cancellation reaches the agency. Its effective timestamp is earlier than the recovery. By noon, every company in the chain is checking its records. The servicer says it sent the request. The platform says it had not completed processing. Your agency opens your field report. The sedan is returned, but returned does not mean restored. The owner missed a shift. She paid for transportation. A repossession entry touched her credit file. Her belongings were handled and listed. Nothing was broken, yet almost everything had been disturbed. Your manager places a revised incident report on the desk. It says the assignment displayed active status at the moment of recovery. That is true. It says no confirmed cancellation had been received. That is also true. It does not say you saw the payment receipt. There is a blank line for additional observations. You could write about the receipt, the verification message, and the unanswered call. Your manager says the report needs facts, not interpretations. Then he taps the signature box and reminds you that the agency followed the information available. If you refuse, the report does not become more honest. Someone else will finish it. The lender will still blame the platform. The platform will still blame timing. The agency may blame you. The owner may receive an apology generated by a department she can never call directly. You sign, not because you believe the recovery was right, because every sentence on the page is narrow enough to be defensible. The report does not lie about the order. It simply leaves the human evidence outside the frame. 6 months later, you manage the night desk. Agents call you from driveways and ask what to do. You no longer touch the cars, you interpret the colors. When an order is green, you tell them it is active. When a cancellation is pending, you tell them to verify. You once believed this job was about taking cars from people who failed to pay. Now you know it is about moving faster than a correction. The contract never asked whether you were right. It asked whether you followed the available order. And when the report reached your desk, you signed here.